Now by Wendy Alberts from the Restaurant Association of South Africa. Wendy, always a pleasure speaking to you. I remember reading about how last year, in spite of the moves from a higher lockdown level to lower lockdown levels, quarter on quarter, the restaurant industry cut jobs. Are we likely to see this happen again this year? Should we move now, as per the third wave, and impose stricter restrictions, particularly on those who would be patrons?
You know, one thing we can certainly say for the stars, and we really do appreciate government's support in noticing the integrity of the restaurant industry. You know, like you've said, we've been an industry that has been heavily impacted over the last year. And at every turn, we've had to remodel our businesses and reclaim ourselves through our own ownership to redevelop our businesses without support from the banks or the landlords or the various suppliers or government. So it's been a very lonely time for us. We're only starting to springboard some degree of recovery. Whilst we are promising some hope for recovery, we can also still see that the industry is very frail. We've got a lot of restaurants that are still closing. You know, as those leases play out, the landlords certainly have given us notice. They are cutting our tenancy, and they certainly are looking at getting rebates back on the lost income that they've had over the last year. And the same applies with the banks. So it makes a very tricky time for us to continue trading through the difficult times. And now with the talk of the third wave hitting us, it certainly does make our industry very, very nervous. But, you know, we're committed to playing our part. It's critical that government recognises that we are an industry that is doing our level best to mobilise and to keep the patrons and staff safe. We can only work towards continuing to remodel and recover our own industry over the next couple of months.
Yeah. Wendy, how do you foresee the industry being impacted by now these new restrictions of Alert Level 2?
Look, we're grateful that our businesses were not interrupted abruptly like they were in January or December. That forced us to a brink of complete decimation. You know, all these times and turns gives us an opportunity that we are committed to supporting government and its initiatives to keep the country safe, for us to keep our patrons safe. And I think as government notices the hard work that we've done over the last couple of months, it shows great support to inviting South Africans to continue to support in the restaurant industry in South Africa. You know, this also allows us to save as many jobs as possible and to continue having the conversation with the banks, the landlords, insurance companies, UIF tours, and the different components that will ensure success moving forward through this difficult stage. I mean, imminent obviously is a faster vaccination rollout program which needs to happen for us. We are forefront workers, and we do deal with hundreds of people on a daily basis. So it's critical that that movement starts taking place, and outline and open conversations continue with government, and we collaborate and we look at solutions that have the least economical impact on our businesses.
Yeah. How do you start having more serious conversations, particularly with the restaurant industry, around adherence to COVID-19 regulations, particularly by patrons? One would say that in some instances you'd find that restaurants, though, welcome people that are wearing masks and have the hand sanitizers available, but once they're inside of the restaurant, it's almost as though social distancing in some aspects is not necessarily adhered to, or some of them may even fail at monitoring quite stringently their patrons. So how then do you start having these difficult conversations with the various owners of the restaurant businesses, so that we don't find ourselves in a situation where restaurants are impacted once again by a surge in infections?
The patrons definitely do dictate the behaviour of what goes on within a restaurant space, and they certainly are the first people to complain if they feel adherence isn't compliant with the necessary protocols and the regulations. And we do exercise, and we vehemently do contact those particular outlets that are not compliant. We do try and work with them to find solutions that will get them to act in the integrity of the industry. The third wave is upon us. We have to do everything we can. Conversations and communication outlining the importance of adherence to those protocols will continue on a daily basis moving forward, that we can protect and control the numbers, and that we play our part in bringing down those numbers and doing what we can to balance lives versus livelihoods.
Wendy Alberts, we'll leave it there for this evening. Wendy Alberts is from the Restaurant Association of South Africa.